Should I move back? Should I move? Like, will you start? Will you
No,
start?
you're
Beating?
perfect right now. You're perfect.
Okay,
You're
okay.
perfect. Don't fucking switch it.
Okay.
Now you move.
I didn't move. I didn't move. Shit.
Ah, my man. Welcome back.
Thank you.
In 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, guys, welcome back to yet another edition of Native MMA Radio. We've been away for a little while, but Wally Wall are back. Our schedules finally coexisted together so we can make this happen. Man, it's been a minute, but it's been a wild minute in the world of MMA, man. People who we've been talking to forever about to be making their UFC debuts. People who we've been keeping an eye on forever in the UFC have been really making storms. You look at guys like Casey Kinney, who rattled off back-to-back wins, and now he's looking like definitely on the crust, right on the crest of that fucking 135-pound bracket. If he's not in the top 15, he's definitely pushing it.
A lot of rumors, a lot of things happening, a lot of fights, a lot of what the fuck cards, like the last one, which is something that you wouldn't even sell, I don't know, on Wish.com maybe. But
no,
yeah,
was definitely Wish.com card of the year.
It was the Wish.com. It was.
And I feel like we're completely missing the huge elephant in the room. Khabib Nurmagomedov defended his title yet again, went 29-0, and then put his gloves down in the ring and called it a day in the octagon.
You called it, brother. You said that this may be his last fight. You told me.
I feel like without his dad there, it was just not going to be the same situation for him.
And I have a theory. I already told you about it, but we will get into it maybe in the last segment of the show.
We might. It's a long.
We will. We will. It's an interesting
one.
For
sure. Last week's card, man. Felder versus Dos Santos. Like you said, it was the Wish.com of what UFC, and I kind of feel like that's what the Contender Series was this week too. It was the Wish.com version of it. But a couple good spotlights out there. Brendan Allen got knocked out by Sean Strickland. That was a pretty good performance by Strickland. Ashley Yoder beat Miranda Granger. She was on a high. Corey McKenna beat Kay Hansen. She was on a high too. Tony Gravely got 7 takedowns in that fight against Geraldo de Freitas. Huge win for him in the bantamweight division. Alex Moreno looked good against Reese McKee. Reese McKee got an unfair first fight against Kazmat, and he looked a lot better in this fight. Although he has lost 2 fights now, I definitely like the dog that we've seen in the last fight. So I would definitely like to see him back for a third time. Let's talk about...
It is really the card that you will have maybe in Green Bay, Wisconsin, or some place like that. That's not... Sure. This is not an LA card. This is not like a MSG.
It's not a Las Vegas card.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
You were absolutely correct, sir. This is like Little Rock, Arkansas.
Exactly.
Now, main event wasn't the prettiest of them fights. Paul Felder went in there and gave it his all. RDA, man, 6 takedowns. Ended up winning the fight of the night. Split decision, though. Kind of weird. I mean, obviously, you've watched the fight now. How did you score it?
It was a unanimous decision without any doubt. The guy is crazy. That judge is crazy. But come on, it takes a guy who what was it? Not even a week notice for RDA to finally get a win.
A ranked win at that.
Yeah. So but Paul Felder, he was kind of retired.
That RDA does against Islam.
No.
I think Islam Makhachev honestly fucks up RDA.
RDA is on the way down. I would love to see him against older fighters.
You talk about it all the time, man. You beat RDA, you get a title shot.
They have their own division in that, their own division in this division, like him, Matt Brown, Carlos Condit, just throw them
Cerrone in there.
Yeah, put them in a fatal 4-way ladder match or whatever. There's no title in their future. Listen, RDA already did it. He was the champion. He defended his belt. And then he got fucked when he was supposed to fight against Conor. Other than that,
Barbosa is another guy you can throw in there. He's talking about hitting free agency after he gets, done with his UFC contract. Do you think that Bellator might be interested in him? I mean, they just lost Michael Chandler,
Yeah.
their lightweight champion, Producio Pitbull's in the featherweight tournament. They could use some star power at 155 pounds.
He can be definitely can make some waves in Bellator.
Yeah, I mean, hell, tomorrow night, Benson Henderson's fighting at 170 pounds.
Yeah, another guy who actually signed PFL, was it Fabricio Verdum, right?
Fabricio, yes, man. That heavyweight division, as long as they bring in all the names they talked about for 2020. So we have Muhammad Usman, we have Big Pretty Justin Willis, we have Fabricio Verdum, that we're not even talking about, last year, 2019 winner Emmanuel Swardy, all the other guys who will most likely be coming back that are already in the heavyweight division. You got, Teller, you got all the guys from Russia who were killing it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some killers in the PFL heavyweight division. Honestly, I enjoy PFL. I enjoy the format. I enjoy the brackets. I enjoy the fighting twice in one night. I really like that promotion, and I feel like if they continue to sign names like these guys for their guys to make names off of, I think it's important.
You know what's interesting is like these guys, like the old ones who are actually leaving the UFC and going to Bellator, to PFL, to wherever, to bare knuckle fighting or whatever the fuck, they're not going to one championship. One championship, actually, the level of competition in one is crazy. Like
the only person who's really done. Actually, there's a couple guys who have Lineker. John Lineker's over there. I just seen that he's fighting for a title.
Yeah, but it wasn't really on the way down. Like he didn't have like a 6-fight losing streak. If I'm not wrong. Oh yeah, Vitor, but
Vitor Belfort.
We know why Vitor is there. It's a freak show.
Oh yeah, TRT.
Nah, yeah, TRT. We know. It's not the Vitor that
like it is. All right.
It's the Vitor.
Speaking of TRT, some testosterone replacement therapy. Abdul Razak Al Hassan might need some eventually after the knockout that he just. I mean, Chaos Williams knocked him out stiff. Yeah. And the funny thing is, Al Hassan is usually doing that to other people. So see it done to him just shows the type of level that Chaos Williams. It took 30 seconds. And I told my son too, I was like, man, listen, don't blink. This is going to be quick. Chaos threw some big leg kicks, but then that overhand right, man, landed right on the chin. It was out.
There's a lot of heavy hitters in this division. Listen, though this unranked fighter, there's who come like from the Contender Series, who come like from some places, and they are like pure killer. You know that in their fight won't last long. Because they will go for the kill, and he did like 30 seconds.
Speaking of, you've seen guys like Joaquin Buckley, who's fighting this Saturday against Jordan Wright. You've seen what he was able to do against Impa, who was another Contender Series guys. I mean, you're going to see that knockout from Book. He grabbed his leg and then switch kicked him with the other leg. It was fucking, it was some like YouTube looking ass shit. Like you only do that in the training room. Yeah. Hollywood ass.
Even on sparrings, I feel like you don't hit it that way. Like even like on the gym, without any pressure, without anything on the line, you don't hit it like this.
No, I'm definitely excited for people like that, man. People
knockout of the decade. Will you call it maybe knockout of the decade?
Possibly. It's up there.
It was unique. Like there's no shit like. Maybe the other thing that surprised me, like it was like the Showtime kick, kind of, that was like very unexpected.
Well, you had never seen anyone do it, especially when Perez, he runs off the cage, kicks the guy right in the face. You've never seen anything like that.
And this one was
the same thing. Yeah, like, oh my goodness. I mean, you've seen guys catch that leg kick just like that, tons. But you've never seen anybody capitalize off it like that.
And it's risky because if you don't hit it, like you have your back, you're on the ground. Yeah, you're fucked. Just ask Chris Weidman about missing a kick. What it can do to your whole fucking career. Not even to just one fight, to your whole fucking career. Just ask Chris Weidman about that.
100%. Let's get into this card, though.
Yeah.
We have UFC 255. The flyweights are going to be showcasing this one. Champion Davison Figueiredo is taking on challenger, the true number one contender, Alex Perez. Valentina Shevchenko is defending her flyweight title against none other than Jennifer Maia. Obviously, Valentina Shevchenko is clearly, without a shadow of a doubt, the number 1.5 woman in the world. because she's right up there. I mean, she's 1B, and then Amanda Nunes is 1A. Valentina is very good. The only people that she's really lost to is Ms. Amanda Nunes. And I mean, it's to say, if you flip it in reverse, if you ask me, the only person that Amanda's really ever lost to is Valentina.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Great fights up and down. Starting off the card, Luis Kos taking on Sasha Plantokov. I fucked that one up. Koski is 7-0. He was on the Contender Series. He also just had a victory. Very exciting young man at 170 pounds. A lot of welterweights on this card. I'm excited for this one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 welterweight matchups. So really the welterweight division is moving in the right direction. Yeah. Another welterweight, Kyle Dukas taking on Dustin Stolifus. Don't know much about these two guys. Kyle's 9-1. Dustin's 13-1. Kyle's got a 3-inch height advantage. Obviously, with that height advantage comes a 1-inch reach advantage. The main difference, though, is Kyle is a southpaw. Dustin is orthodox, roughly around the same age. They both bring a high tempo to the fight, and I'm excited to see this one.
Yeah, interesting matchup. And like you said, there's a lot of fights from this welterweight division, which is good. I like how sometimes when you have a card who is like, we have a lot of fights from one division.
Now, this next one obviously has a young man in it that we've been, interviewing and talking to for a while now. Jared Nitran Gooden is making his his UFC debut against none other than Alan Jouban. So I'm excited about this one. We'll have an interview with Jared dropping probably around the same time as this episode. So excited to have that one in the books. Jared lost Bruno Oliveira about a year ago. Ever since that loss, he went on a complete tear, winning 3 fights in a row. Charles Jourdain is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He doesn't even have any submissions, but wins.
And has no chin. No chin also.
Jouban is a counter fighter where Jared's pressure. It's a good matchup, I believe, for Jared, and this could really catapult him into that, where he wants to be. Has a 3-inch reach advantage over Alan Jouban, obviously the much younger fighter, and he doesn't have all those UFC fights along with it. Like I said, Jared is looking comfortable in this situation. I like the matchup for him, and I'm expecting him to get a victory here on Saturday night.
Alan Jouban is actually like a well-known fighter in his division, so he's a good name. So I feel like it's more of a lot to win and not a lot to lose kind of situation for Jared. But
yeah, if he lost to Alan Jouban. But if he wins, he beat Alan Jouban.
Even though he's 38, he no longer has a chin, which is very good for Jared. I feel like he can hit him right in the button because Alan Jouban, like, who didn't knock him out? I feel like he'd been like his chin took a lot of hits. Even though, but like you said, he's a black belt. He can win fight by decision with his ground game. So it's a very
he waits for his other guy to do what he needs to do, and I don't think that's a good idea with Jared. Wait around, he's gonna knock you out.
I think Jared had all the chances to win this fight. Only if he kind of starstruck or have he feel like the pressure or whatever, he decides not to fight like he used to fight. That's he can only defeat himself. I don't think that Alan can beat him at this level, at this point. So, yeah. But I feel like Jared, with the right pressure or whatever, he can even finish this fight.
100%, man. Daniel Rodriguez, I really, really much like this dude. He trains with Cowboy. Is taking on Nicholas Dalby in the welterweight division. Another welterweight match. That's 4 in a row just to start the card. D-Rod, 13-1, only losing outside of the UFC. Since he's been in the UFC, he is 4-0, taking out guys like Tim Means, Dwight Grant, who was originally supposed to fight Jared Gooden. Now they're all lining up to fight each other. The significant strikes that he lands is the most significant. He is able to throw 8.46 strikes per minute, and he lands at about a 48% accuracy. My problem with that is if Nicholas Dalby cannot withstand that pressure, it's going to be a quick night, and Daniel Rodriguez is going to put him to sleep.
Yeah,
But
a lot of pressure
you've
fighters.
seen D-Rod get dropped, but you've never seen him get finished.
Well, you would think that Daniel Rodriguez have the more chances to win this fight, but who knows? When you put the pressure, you have a lot of chances to win this fight. But if you exactly, if he counter punch you, like it would be a rough night for you.
Yeah, quick too. Like you've seen fights where you could be having a guy lead the entire fight, and it takes one counter punch and it's done.
No.
You've literally seen it. Derek Lewis did it against Volkov. Derek Lewis lost every second of that fight except for maybe the last 15. That's all it took.
Stipe against Fabricio Verdum when he won the belt. Fabricio was chasing him and he counter-punched him. And Stipe against Alistair Overeem when Stipe was chasing him. Exactly. So sometimes chasing a guy like randomly kind of it's not the best thing to do. So you need to be very careful. Look at all the guys who
chase Israel. Look what happened to Brunson.
Unless
you can't chase some of these guys.
Unless you're Khabib and you don't give a crap anymore.
And guys literally just keep their hands down when they fight you because what else are they gonna do besides try to take that takedown away from you?
I was don't just need to talk about it because we didn't. Khabib against Gaethje when he was running into Gaethje, I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
Right.
It was very dangerous. He didn't give a crap anymore. He knew he was.
Gaethje didn't even put his hands up. Gaethje was right here the entire fight instead of being up here like he normally is. He's sitting here waiting for the takedown. You can't do that against a guy like Khabib Nurmagomedov. You realize he's still a mixed martial artist.
He gets into their head.
Anyone can throw an overhand and make it look pretty. Anyone. Exactly. And when you have the type of power and athleticism that Khabib Nurmagomedov has, that overhand's coming pretty quick.
For the record, Gaethje won the first round when it comes to points. They gave him the first round. It's not my opinion. They gave him the first round.
That's not my opinion.
It was a 10-9, maybe 9-8, 9-10.
It doesn't matter.
Later, it doesn't matter.
Khabib put him to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. But just to talk about, it's interesting.
It is. It really is. When you think about, especially we talk about all this GOAT conversation.
Yeah.
Khabib Nurmagomedov has carried himself as a champion inside and outside of the octagon, and I think that is the main reason why people pick him over John Jones. But really, if you look at it just based on the sport, John Jones has a hard record to beat, and there's only one man that truly even compares to it. And unfortunately, that man is not Khabib Nurmagomedov. We're going a little bit off topic right now.
Yeah.
But Demetrius Johnson, I feel like, has the best justifiable vie at the number one GOAT spot.
The problem is it's the level of competition that you had while you were champion. And Demetrius didn't have the level of competition, or anybody else had the level of competition of John Jones.
True.
GSP, kind of, because GSP defended a lot of his belts against tough competition. Like he fought against Nick Diaz, against a lot of crazy fighters, a lot of crazy styles.
You have to put those guys who had the really long title runs in that. And when we talk about guys, we have to flip it also over to the girls. And where do we add them into the GOAT conversation? Do we have separate categories for the guys and the girls? Because when you look at, somebody like Antonina Shevchenko's sister, Valentina Shevchenko, she really is, without a shadow of a doubt, at least the number 2 best female to ever step in the octagon.
I think just between divisions, we already have a lot of problems to compare fighters. Now, if we add the other gender, the female gender, to this conversation,
it's even harder.
It's
because at that case, a man probably got the best justifiable claim to being the GOAT. Level of competition. Streak, how she carries herself inside and outside of the cage,
and defeated all the former champions in her division.
All in both divisions.
John Jones have almost this kind of shit because he defeated so many former champions.
He's got to go to heavyweight to really take that claim.
If he does, and he destroyed everyone in heavyweight, like, come on. Like, well, the only thing against John Jones is actually what he did outside the cage.
What about Izzy?
I
Izzy
think
could go to light heavyweight right now, starts John. Then what if he moves up to heavyweight eventually and fights Jones for the heavyweight title?
like if Easy go for a kind of three
Three.
division, that would be, yeah, of course, of course. And Easy had
Getting
that.
off topic like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
Though.
yeah.
We will
Oh,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
this thing.
But
Let's
yeah,
get back real
let's
quick.
go back. Let's go back.
Antonina Shevchenko, Ariane Lipski, the queen of violence. I'm excited about this one for sure, man. These two women put a great fight on every time, and they're both very big for that division. Antonina is 5'8", Ariane is 5'6", but both have a 67-inch reach. I'm excited for this matchup.
What it's like the second card where Antonina is fighting in the same card as her sister.
I think it's easier for them. I know how like Nick and Nate back in the
Yeah.
day talked about they hated doing it when they would not fight on the same card. But
Yeah.
I think for these guys, because they're so close and they're training partners for each other, that it's just easier for them.
I think before there's a lot of fighters said that, but when Khabib like brought his whole fucking family, like 10 fighters were actually his brothers, and they all fight in the same card. So it changes everything. Like who cares? Like they will fight and then they will put like on a jacket and
Wouldn't
they will
you
be
rather
on
fucking
the
yeah?
corner.
Wouldn't you rather fight with your team anyways? That's my thing. Wouldn't you rather fight with your teammates there?
I agree. That's it's different. Maybe because it was his real brother. Nate.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Antonina, what do you have? Do you think that she have a lot of chances to win this fight? Or
I love the fight. I love Antonina, but Ariane Lipski is a violent individual. We've seen that in her last 2 UFC performances. I really feel like she could put it on her at this point. It's an interesting one for sure. It's going to stay standing. If it doesn't stay standing, I think for sure Lipski has the advantage 100%. But standing, I would have to give the advantage to Antonina.
Yeah,
it's a great fight. I'm excited for this one. If I got a gun to my head and I got to pick somebody, I'm leaning toward Lipski on this one.
I think I will go with you. If I'm not wrong, Antonina did lose her last fight, right?
Yeah, no, she lost. I believe she's on like a 4-fight losing streak, right? Am I way off?
Antonina lost against Caitlin Caucasian by decision.
Why was Caitlin Caucasian fighting Antonina anyways? Let's be realistic about this. No, not even close in the rankings.
So I don't feel like she's, but she lost by decision, so I'm not sure. But you know what? I would go with you. I would agree with you on this decision.
Lipski, man. I like her a lot.
Yeah.
Joaquin Buckley is taking on Jordan Wright in the middleweight division. Jordan Wright 11-0. Joaquin Buckley, who we talked about earlier with a great knockout, is 11-3. Southpaw versus the Orthodox. Wright is normally a 205-pounder. He actually fought, I believe, on the Contender Series. Or no, his last fight against Ike Villanueva, heavyweight.
If you remember, we talked about him when we were
So Jordan Wright now back at most likely the weight class that he's going to stay at. I know Joaquin Buckley just came off with this huge knockout. He's probably got all the hype behind him right now. I think Jordan Wright wins this one.
Listen, Jordan Wright never
Remember, average fight time.
Never had the third round. Never had the third round.
Yeah.
Never had. And the only fight where he had the second round, he ended like in the not even in the first minutes of that round. So I will go with Wright. Like last time when we talked about him, it was for his fights on that Munoz against Edgar card, and we were interested in him, and he showed us why we should be interested in him. And I feel like it will be the same thing in this card. And I hopefully for him, I want to see him like go climb the ladder of the ranking in this division.
Listen, one fight that I'm definitely interested in is this flyweight bout between Brandon Moreno and Brandon Royval. These two are probably some of the most exciting fighters we have in this, one of the most exciting divisions. The fact that they were going to get rid of this division still blows my mind. Okay, these kids are both super young. Brandon Royval, born in 1992, Moreno, 1993. Both of them just stepping into their prime, really. I feel like with the matchups that have been awarded to Brandon Royval, he has really catapulted himself into this top 15 really quickly. I think with a win here, he could really put himself out there as the possible future number one contender.
I really enjoy watching Moreno fights. He always had like, I don't know, In my opinion, he's been like always that kind of fighter that is like in the top 5 of the conversation in this division, but never actually
Getting the
went.
respect
Yeah,
deserves.
when he lost when he didn't need to, when he didn't really need to lose. Like when he lost to Sergio Perez, it really hurt him because I feel like he could have maybe even had a title fight at that point
Yeah,
because
then he
he
lost
was
to Pantoja. Then
exactly.
Askarov had the draw, which I really Askarov is the dark horse, I think, in this entire division. I
Yeah,
think everything. I mean, I've told you he's partially deaf. I want to say like 85% deaf.
yeah.
And that dude, what he's able to do inside the cage and what he's able to continue to achieve, I think that dude is a real dark horse. But Brandon Royval may be the future.
But
Factory
bro,
X, man.
there's something interesting we need to talk about. Moreno last fight he won against Formiga, and Formiga
Was the
is
number one contender.
Figueiredo. People forget that Formiga is Figueiredo. They have the same face. They are the same person. So technically, he won against the champion. People forget that they have the same MMA record. Just so yeah, so people. But other than this crap that I'm saying, uh, I feel like the last fight for like it's a Brandon against Brandon fight. We need to say that also. So
Who do
Royale
you have
actually
for the victory, though?
Royale
Royval or
actually
Moreno?
uh, I would go with Moreno because I'm kind of a fan of him, but I would not be surprised if Royale win this fight.
See, I really like Moreno. I like him from what he was able to do on The Ultimate Fighter. I feel like
Yeah.
he's really grown since then as well. He even got cut at one point from the UFC after those 2 losses. He was able to come back and he's looked solid ever since. Unfortunately, I think Brandon Royval wins this fight, and I think he is, like I said, the future of this bantamweight division, flyweight division. Sorry,
That was random when he got caught because
it
he
was, but
yeah,
it was all point that at that point in time where TJ was gonna win the title and there was gonna be no more flyweights.
before losing those 2 fights, he was on a 11 winning streak, So,
Yes.
you put some respect. Come on. Like he always
Talk about a
performed
guy
well.
you need to put some respect on. Mauricio Shogun Rua has
Oh
been
yeah.
doing it for a very, very long time. He steps in yet again against Paul Craig. They had a draw in their last fight, a great fight between these two.
Yeah.
We're going to see it one more time. I'm excited. I love fights like this for Shogun. You know he's not going to win a title. He's not going to make a run at the title. He's probably not even anywhere contention. But
Yeah.
fighting a guy who's going to bring the type of battle that Paul Craig's going to bring to him, I think is always exciting.
He's giving us some great fight, Shogun Rua. Even though people like maybe they forget, he won against Tyson Pedro when everybody thought that Tyson Pedro was going to win this fight. And Paul Craig is the kind of fighter that would give you a triangle in the last second of a fight, or a
Mm-hmm.
guillotine, or a submission. So it's a very interesting fight. Personally, I feel like maybe Shogun striking maybe is an advantage for him, but I would go with Paul Craig.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. I believe Paul Craig pulls this one
Yeah,
out. I just think age is really starting to set in to guys like
yeah.
Shogun, and I think it's time for Paul Craig to really show that he was the better man the first and second time.
I won't be surprised also if in 10 years Shogun Rua is still fighting and still winning fights.
100%. He'd probably be in Asia with
Yeah,
TRT Vitor, but he'll be winning fights.
he will be winning fights.
Another great women's flyweight bout. This one could honestly show us the next
Yeah.
number one contender. Caitlin Kokajian is taking on Cynthia Calvillo. Cynthia Calvillo now is taking on her second fight in the flyweight division. Her last fight, she took out former number one contender Jessica Ai. Now current number one contender Caitlin Kokajian is next on her list. This is a very good matchup for these two. Cynthia Calvillo did have problems making 115 pounds multiple times. Now at 125 pounds, I feel like those problems are out the window and she can fully focus on her wrestling and what brought her to the table. The way she transitions on the ground is probably better than I've seen most people do in MMA. It's probably
Yeah,
at least the best in her division.
yeah. She's very good and very talented. This is a true test for Cynthia. Even though her first test, she didn't she
She
didn't
fucking
win.
aced it.
No, she didn't. It was against Carla
She,
Esperanza, and she didn't win.
no, sorry. The Esparza fight, yeah, that was at 15. But at
Yeah,
125, she's been
Jessica
undefeated. She
I.
beat
Yeah, she
Jessica
didn't.
I.
Yeah,
And
that
she
was.
really passed that test.
But this one is another level of testing,
For sure.
because this fighter, Caitlyn, is very skillful, and I
I
feel
think she's
like,
upset with her performance against Valentina as well, so she wants that
yeah.
back.
If you think, do you think if Cynthia win this fight, next for her will be the title fight?
I think Lauren Murphy would have a real problem with that one.
I agree with you. Lauren Murphy is definitely in
She's
there.
earned it.
Yeah.
And I think if you continue to overlook her, I think that's wrong. And what's the point of even having ranking? What's the point of having ranked fighters fight each other if you're just going to pick and choose who gets the title shot? It's like that point where we were all screaming for Damian Maia to get his title fight, and it finally took him forever to get there. I think Laura Murphy, has earned her right to fight Valentina Shevchenko. Now, do I think it's going to end well for her? No, but you never know. It's MMA.
I feel like Cynthia Calvillo actually can sell fights. I feel like if you put her on that title picture, she can talk some good trash talk, and she can give you some pay-per-view buyers,
100%.
And maybe Valentina, that's what she needs, even though she's a killer, but she's not a huge pay-per-view draw, If she was, she would be the main event of this card. She would be main eventing cards by herself, and she's not doing it. There's a reason for that. So a fight against Cynthia actually may give her the kind of attention that she deserves as a champion.
Up next, man. Or sorry, who do you got with this one?
I will go with Cynthia because I want her to win and I want her to fight for the belt. I know that Lauren Murphy deserves. Lauren deserves more, but how the business go.
Yeah, you talk your way to the belt, and Cynthia Calvillo is a very good trash talker, and I think honestly she's done enough to the right people.
Yeah.
Now Mike Perry taking on Tim Means in this great matchup in the welterweight division. Your boy Platinum is back. Does he have a corner or not? Have we clarified that one? Is fucking we know Chill's not going to be there.
That's the problem.
And we know Kendra Luss isn't going to be there. But who's going to be in his corner? Just a girlfriend again? I'm trying to figure this shit out.
She's pregnant if he's having.
So technically, he's got two cornermen, the baby and her.
That's good. I feel like that's good. The Mike Perry Darren Till drama is one of the best we ever had in UFC. It's amazing.
If these two don't fight at any point, I'm very upset.
Darren Till said he wished Mike Perry to win this fight too, so he can have a chance to fight against him. And that would be a very entertaining fight. It would be a very, very entertaining fight because I feel like Mike Perry can bring something out of Darren Till that we need to see. Some violence. Mike Perry have a good chin. I don't think Mike Perry is a better striker than Darren Till. That would be crazy to say. But Mike Perry
is super talented, but he's that sideshow clown you bring out before the opening act.
Yeah. He's amazing.
He is like 2 shades from hillbilly, straight from the backcountry Louisiana.
He's what we expect him to be. You know what I mean? What do you expect him to be? Look at it, when you see Mike Perry, just not even watching him fight or whatever. He is exactly what he is. When you look at him, you know what he is, and and he's good. I fucking love to see him fight. I feel like every time he performs well, even when he loses, he gives us a show. Every time he gives a show, he had some good wins against Paul Felder, against Mickey Gall, against Cowboy Oliveira. Yeah, but come on, he won. He had some good wins. He had some losses.
Lost to Vicente.
Well, we can't talk about that.
What did the judges say?
It was a split decision.
Well, they still split that loss.
Okay.
Valentina Shevchenko steps in on Saturday night against the #1 contender Jennifer Maia and takes. Oh, I forgot to ask you. Who do you think is going to win that last fight?
What do you ask?
Mike Perry. I just like to talk shit, all right? I'll go with Tim Means just to go opposite as you.
Right.
But like I was saying, Valentina Shevchenko steps in to defend her women's flyweight title against #1 contender Jennifer Maia. Valentina Shevchenko is the second most dominant fighter I think we have right now currently in the UFC if Khabib Nurmagomedov is truly retired. Valentina has really carved her own way into this division. She put her stamp on it the second she announced that she was moving to 25. And it's literally been just win after win after win after win. She beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk for the title. She beat Jessica Ai in dominant fashion. She did the same to Liz Carmouche and sent her pack into Bellator. She beat Caitlin Kokajian, who had to come back and beat her sister just to get a little bit of redemption. Now she is looking at facing Jennifer Maia, who really lucked into this spot. She fought Joanne Calderwood, who people thought JoJo could have just waited and got this title shot. She didn't wait. She went up against Miss Jennifer Maia and got submitted really quick. The thing here is can Jennifer Maia survive the onslaught that Valentina Shevchenko? She's creative with her striking. She has probably the most scariest power for a 125-pound fighter, period.
Yeah.
Period. Man or woman.
And very skillful.
And top-notch striking.
I feel like Jennifer Maia, maybe we'll say her Hail Mary, her only chance to win this fight is going to the ground because she has some good submission games. But is her ground game better than Valentina's ground game?
Yeah, Valentina has won against multiple black belts.
Exactly. So I don't think
at 135 pounds. So you know Jennifer Maia is not going to be a physically imposing compared to those other girls.
Exactly. I guess at least Carmouche is a great grappler. So I don't feel like Valentina would be scared to go to the ground against Jennifer Maia. So I don't see this fight going to decision. I don't see this fight lasting long even. I feel like Valentina will end this fight in the two first rounds.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, man. I don't see this one lasting long. Obviously, with the tremendous talent that Valentina Shevchenko is, obviously I see her running through Jennifer Maia in this one. Yeah. I don't think there's anyone in the world like Valentina Shevchenko, and she proves it every time she goes out there.
I agree with you.
Now for our main event, man, Deiveson Figueiredo, the true men's flyweight champion, is taking on Alex Perez, the #1 contender, the first fighter from Dana White's Contender Series to get a title shot. This man is making history as he steps in and tries to claim what he thinks is already his. My thing is this matchup bigger to you than the Cody Garbrandt one?
Hell no.
Absolutely not. But is Alex Perez more deserving than him?
Yeah, but what does it mean nowadays, being more deserving? It's all, listen, 2020...
Nowadays, not much.
It's the year of listen, this decade is the decade of the snakes. It's all about biting people and taking places of people and, being like selfish or whatever. I will never forgive Figueiredo for breaking Megan Olivia's heart. This I will never I will never forgive him for that. Even though he's a tremendous fighter, only one loss in this division against himself, which is Formiga. I will always try to bring
that close fight, very close fight.
Well, it's hard to beat yourself. But
I mean, a lot of people beat themselves, but they're different situations.
Yeah, but lately, like his performances against the Benavidez were amazing. Amazing. There's nothing you can say about them, and he is the best. He's the best champion.
I feel like they had like the best of 3, and he took 2 of them right away.
I actually would love to see him fight against Henry. That's fucked up that we have. Fight. That's fucked up that Henry is not fighting in this division because he may give him a tough fight.
I've said that for a while. I feel like with his power, he could really put a hurting on him.
There's not a lot of fighters who actually wanted to fight against him, Figueiredo. He's been like the kind of fighter that people would not want to fight against. People been kind of scared of him in this division. But let me tell you something. Alex Perez is definitely not afraid of him. And
listen, only in the era of COVID can you put 2 flyweight titles on the line and expect there to be a fucking crowd full of people.
Yeah.
Like people, but honestly, this could be a fight night and people wouldn't even blink an eye. Like I think a lot of people are gonna be confused. They have to pay money for this because if this was not during the COVID era and they would have somebody else headlining this fight.
I agree with you. So, in your opinion, who do you have winning this fight? New champion or still?
Alex Perez is able to withstand the early onslaught of Deiveson Figueiredo, and I think the leg kicks that Alex Perez is going to put on Deiveson is going to be the biggest difference, and I think Perez ends up finishing Figueiredo somehow within 3 rounds.
Interesting. I will go the opposite way. I feel like Figueiredo is in his prime. I feel like Figueiredo is on a very, very good winning streak. An even better one than Alex Perez, even though Alex Perez is also in a very good winning streak. But Figueiredo, man, there's something about his corner. There's something about him. I feel like he's reaching a whole new level. He's raising the bar, which is what this division needed, someone to raise the bar of competition, and he's doing it. And I hope for him to keep on doing it. So I will go with Figueiredo winning this fight by decision.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for this one, man. I can't wait to watch these 4 flyweights put it on. I can't wait to watch this card. You know, we have guys like Jared making his UFC debut. We got your boy Mike Perry up in it. Cynthia Calvillo's fighting. A great matchup between Buckley and Wright. Another great matchup between Moreno and Royval. Up and down, this might look like the greatest card, but there is a lot of very good matchups and fights. Do not miss a second. Lipsky is on this card. She's amazing. Daniel Rodriguez, I got to represent my LA boys always, man. I'm excited for this one. Anything else for UFC 255, sir?
Listen, when there's a card, listen, you give me Paul Craig and you give me Mike Perry in one card, you can have like a potato against a tomato as the main event. I will watch this card because these two fighters, I love to see them fight. I'm a big fan of them. I'm a big fan of what they represent. One represents a guy that would never give up. The other one represents just craziness. So it is what it is.
All you guys out there bitching about fighter pay, you need to order this fucking card so they can actually get fucking paid.
Yeah. Don't do like me. Don't watch it illegally like me. Yeah. Don't watch it illegally.
Don't worry. Half of Native MMA pays for them.
Exactly. I have a discount. I use the promo code Native MMA that we don't already have, but yeah,
but fuck it, we might have it one day.
Maybe one day we'll have it.
Anything else for this episode, my man?
Do you want to do like some current events?
Well, what do you got for me?
So I have my theory about Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Oh, let's hear this one. Let's hear
my big theory.
I already heard it, but I feel like people need to hear it.
This is the theory of a guy that doesn't make any sense, and he just had this idea. And I will tell you about what us, like old school religious country, think. We old school religious country, we think about not going against your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Never. And if you go against your parents, you will get your ass like you will fuck up. Never go against your parents. And Khabib, if he fights again, he will go against his mom, what she told him, because his mom told him not to fight, and I respect that. And there's no way, and even his dad told him not to keep on fighting. And I feel like it's more of that snake, Ali Abdelaziz, trying to push him to fight. So, which is between his mom and Ali. Do you think, of course his mom, he should listen to his mom. Fuck Ali. But if he fights, I feel like going against what his dad taught him and going against what his mom told him, we may see the only Khabib Nurmagomedov loss.
It's an interesting way to look at it. I mean,
that's my theory.
You got guys like Conor who are coming up. You got guys like Michael Chandler who have really good wrestling. You got guys like Tony Ferguson who have always been there. It's an interesting matchup on who he decides to fight for that 30-0. If he decides to come back, it's really up in the air. Literally any one of those three guys could get the fight, depending on what they're able to do in the first part of 2021.
Chandler is being very smart, because Tony wanted to fight him this month.
December, too.
And Chandler told him, like, there's no fucking way I'm fighting you in December. We fight in January, which makes sense. We'll fight
January, the same card as Conor and Poirier.
Which makes
perfect sense.
Makes a lot of sense. And I applaud him for not being dumb, for not just because he needs to fight. Because, like, it's the chance of his life.
Well, if he fights Tony that night, and Dustin and Conor obviously get signed, everything sealed, delivered, and they end up meeting in the octagon that night as well, you could take both of those winners, fight each other, and then for sure, at 100%, as long as these fights are 155 pounds, whoever wins that second fight is the deserving either a 155-pound champion or the number one contender.
If Dustin wins against Conor, which I'm which it's not my prediction, I feel like, yeah, we will have this. But if Conor wins, Dana White will be selling that fight against Khabib. You think he will risk having Conor losing against a Tony or a Michael Chandler? He will tell you, listen, Conor already.
But if Conor wins against somebody like that as well, don't you think that makes that rematch even more lucrative?
He would tell you he already fought against a guy that looks like Michael Chandler, which is Chad Mendes, and he won against him. So he would even lie to us.
He'll come up with something.
He would even say that Michael Chandler and Chad Mendes are the same person, and he won against one of them, or whatever the fuck. Listen, if Conor wins against Dustin Poirier, Dana will not take a risk. He knows that, there's no other fight that will sell more than Conor versus Khabib, the rematch.
I think Conor Khabib sells more than Khabib GSP.
It sells more than anything in the world.
100%.
Like, you will have to go, like, taking Mike Tyson in his prime and against Ali, may he rest in peace, in his prime, to have something that will sell more than Conor versus Khabib.
I would have
realistically, there's numbers.
Because even like in the boxing world, I don't think Wilder and Fury's bigger. I don't think Joshua Fury's bigger. I don't think any of those matchups are bigger. I think Khabib and Conor has already struck gold once, and it'll do the same exact thing the second time.
There's people that don't even know what MMA is.
You said this before.
And yeah, they now don't even know what MMA is, and they don't even think there's a difference between MMA and WWE because they think that WWE isn't even fake. So this is how dumb I'm talking about these people, and they watched that fucking fight, and they stayed like up until like 4 or 6 a.m. or whatever to watch that main event. So just
depending on what country they were in.
Yeah. I'm talking about Africa. I'm talking more about Africa because Africa, a lot of people don't know about. I'm talking about a market that the UFC don't even know about because it's in existence. It's not really there. So just so you know how many people are willing to watch Khabib.
And then if you add the buildup, you add the bus incident, you add Khabib jumping over the cage, you add the fucking animosity between the two. You even show the light side of it, you know what I mean? And then just build up to that fight. It could be something special. Before we go off on a fucking Conor McGregor tangent, though, I want to get your answer to a question that I've been, contemplating on. Yeah. In your opinion, who are the two best fighters to coach this next season of The Ultimate Fighter, which is going to be debuting in March on ESPN+?
Well, listen, if it's Conor and Khabib, that would be
Khabib said no way in hell.
That would be the dream. That would be the actual dream to have those two. But I would go maybe, you know what? I would go with fun guys. If I would go for coaching guys, I would not go with, I don't know, two boring guys or a guy that's people.
I don't want to see Stipe versus DC again.
And I don't want to see a guy cringy like Kevin Lee, even though I love him and he had a weird tattoo, a new weird tattoo that he made. I don't want to see him coaching because people don't enjoy him. Like, if you have a Darren Till, a Colby Covington, a Colby against Masvidal,
there you go.
Amazing.
There you go. Now you're speaking the magic that I'm thinking of here, man. Colby versus Masvidal would be fucking fireworks. Amazing. And it's something that I believe both of them went on the line to do.
You and me spoke about a year ago, I feel like, between Colby and Kamaru Usman. That's what we wanted. That's what we need. That's what we needed.
This one's better.
But this one with how many the hype against
former training partners.
And Masvidal will give you like some punchlines that will be epic. Colby Covington will never shut his mouth. Never.
Donald Trump might even show up.
He will have, like, Colby Covington will have his whole team eliminated and only one fighter still there, and he will tell you he's the best coach ever.
100%.
That's what we need.
I'm excited for this, man. Anything else, current events?
I feel like there's always some shits, but I feel like we can cover them for another episode. Yeah, exactly.
Excellent, guys. We will be back next week. We promise. We're not gonna go on hiatus again. Waleed isn't gonna like become a hermit because his girlfriend's gonna move in with him and all that good stuff.
No. It's not that. I've been studying like crazy, brother. So
Yeah, he's
now,
been studying. My work schedule shifted like crazy. Now we've kind of figured everything out and we're able to ride this one out. So
it is what
we'll
it
be
is.
back with you guys weekly to yell in your ear about MMA some more.
When time gets tough, we don't leave like some people. We will not name them, but yeah, we stay there, and we keep on doing our thing. We enjoy doing this.
And
We
that's what
love
I
it.
For sure. 100% love doing this. Can't wait to talk to Jared later. I'm talking to Casey Kinney this weekend as well. That's about wraps it up for this episode, guys. Listen, fucking hug somebody while you're out there. We're in a strange
No,
time.
COVID. Don't hug.
No, listen, especially if you're in America and you're like red and blue and you guys are like ready to start a civil war. Everyone calm the fuck down, okay? One guy is not going to control everything. There's a Senate as well. Just relax. It'll make 4 years. Maybe it might be better. It might be worse. We can't really control it. Calm the fuck down and just enjoy the ride.
Exactly. Live your life. Who gives a
Thank you.
Shut down your TV and look at your kids. Live your life.
Exactly.
Who gives a fuck about the rest?
Hey, and you know what? As always, stay classy.
Peace.